Hello, we want to welcome you to Behind the Scene again with John Sagoe Ministry. What a privilege and honor to come your way again. I want to begin to share with us. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited about today. I'm so excited about what the Lord have laid on my heart today concerning how you navigate your way when you come to a foreign country, and more especially when it has to do with the law of that country. You know, very often when immigrants are going to a country, they often get a wrong information before they leave their own country to get to that country. And there are different ways that we can actually be able to settle down in a country legally, you know, even coming from your own country, if you already have all these legal information and advices that we are about to give to you on this broadcast before going. So point number one, I know that a very common way that a lot of people travel today because of economical problem is as a refugee. They like to leave their country, you know, and then they come to the country and they declare themselves as a refugee, and then they go through the refugee process. But these are not the people these are not the people I'm addressing on this particular broadcast, but perhaps in our next broadcast, we might be able to deal with also these people, you know, that has a refugee status. But today, we want to talk about the people that want to enter the country legally. You want to enter the country legally, and you want to find a job, and you want to settle down in that country. What are the options that are for you in a foreign land? Now, many countries have different visa laws when it comes to settling in their country or working in their country or residencing in their country. But let us begin to look at from the slight ones to the tough ones. So number one, there are countries that have what we call a bilateral agreement with each other. And when you go to those countries, usually it means that maybe your country that you are departing from has, like, let's say 90 days of stay, tourist visa in that country that you can stay for 90 days, and then you are allowed to go back and you come in again. So the very first thing you need to do, if your original plan is to actually settle in that country, the very first thing you need to do is, if you have enough resources in your disposal, it will be wise if you have this 90 days visa-free or visa waiver agreement. It will be wise for you to take advantage and take that 90 days option and go there with the mind that you are going to inform yourself about how the nation is. And this is not relocating yet. This is not yet relocating. This is for you to go and inform yourself about the laws and the rules and regulation of that nation. And if you have the resources, don't forget, if you have the resources in your disposal and you can be able to take such a long vac from your country of origin and go and do that, that will be the best, because one of the reasons why I say that is that there are some information about laws that you don't actually find online. You know, there are some critical information about laws of nations that you will not find online until you enter that country and you go to their immigration, and then you begin to find out those things by yourself. And then secondly, there are also lawyers that lives in those countries, like immigration lawyers or all kinds of other lawyers that help with, you know, laws in the nation, that you can only meet them when you are in the country, and you can only get a meaningful information out of them when you have a face-to-face meeting. You know, very often people are running away from lawyers because they say they are too expensive, but there are some lawyers in nations that they are there to give you information, and it's not so expensive. There are also what we call community lawyers that are there in different nations, and practically every nation have these community lawyers that they will be able to assist you without it costing you so much money in the first place. So you need to go and do this kind of research when you are in the country already. And don't forget, we are talking about the first batch of people that have a 90 days or so, or maybe 60 days or even 30 days of visa waiver in a nation. So you can take advantage, enter that country with your tourist visa and begin to make all this inquirement. Now let me put it down for you here that it's very likely that many nations, one of the way to settle down in that nation is, number one, through employment. Number two, through studies. Number three, through marriage. And then other, maybe number four or other thing is through you maybe investing in a building or buying a property, in that country. Or the other one is by you doing something spectacular. For example, if you are very good in football and then you enter a nation and then you are able to showcase yourself to their national coach and they see, oh, you can really help their national team, because if they get you in, you can play for their country. Of course, there is no other way for you to be able to play for their national team without them giving you a passport, a citizenship of that country. So these are more or less 5 or 6 different ways that you can be able to settle down in a nation. And so, but for you to be able to get some of these things even going, you need to know the law. Because if you don't know the law, you cannot just come to a nation and you said, I have a job. No, you need to know what are the permit, what are the requirements, what are the papers that is expected from the law by you. So what I'm advising is, because different countries does it slightly different. So what I'm advising as a general advice is to take time to inform yourself. Education is the key. Education is power. So you have to learn how to inform yourself. So one of the things you need to do in order to inform yourself, as I said, is if you have access, and you have a tourist visa, to be able to go to that country and inform yourself about the laws and the regulation of the country and meet really the legal minds of the country, so that they can begin to give you tips what you need to do. And of course, apart from that, there are other counselors in the nation that one encounter or another, depending on who you meet, will be directing you step by step who to go and talk to, so that you can be able to get all the information that you need. But I want to also let you know that once you begin to understand the steps to take to fulfill those legal laws, then make sure that you don't undermine them. Make sure that you don't break those laws. Very often people enter a country and they knew they want to actually settle down in that country. And then the very first thing they do already is to overstay. And once you already overstay, you have already a dent in their system, because it means that you are not somebody that they can trust, you are not reliable, you are not faithful, and that already starts causing problem on arrival for you. So you have to be sure that you don't overstay, and then you have to be sure that you don't enter into anything that will bring you to the law in a negative way. For example, you are driving over red light, you over speeding, you are drinking, driving, or your criminal record in terms of stealing or doing anything bad or dealing in any bad business that will put you in trouble in that short time. Because don't forget, once you start to have a bad record, that has already started jeopardizing your stay. And once they start to think in this way and they enter a country and they see that they are going for money, and because they are rushing into making money, very often than none, they enter into a problem and they start having criminal record. And I'm telling you, there are people today, they are living in a foreign land for 20 years, but they have no citizenship. And the law of those countries says that in 10 years or in 5 years, you should become a citizen of that country for living there for 5 years or living there for 10 years. But because these people have criminal records, they have been living there for 20-something years, some 30-something years, and they still have no chance to actually be able to become a citizen of that country because of the wrong record. So that's why it's important that don't rush when you enter a country that you want to settle down. Don't rush and make up your mind that the very first thing you want to do is to make money, because with that attitude, you might rush into trouble, and then that jeopardizes your opportunity of even having any documentation to settle in that country. And at the end of it, you will end up in for the country to deport you, and you might never have an opportunity to come back to that country again. So don't forget, if that is your mind. But if it's not in your mind, of course, in any case, you are not advised to go and commit any crime in a country, whether you are going there as a tourist, whether you want to live there or not. But what I'm trying to say is that, in English, they say that a better name is more than wealth. A good name is more important than wealth. So think about it. When you enter a country and you leave that country in a good way, not only that you have a good record to come back to that country again next time and whenever you want to come, but you also help other people like you that we want to enter that country for the door to be open for them. Don't forget about that, because very often we don't think about others. We think only about ourselves, and we think, oh, it's just about me. Now I have gotten what I want. I can do what I want. It doesn't matter. No, it matters a lot, because if you are coming from a particular country and you are causing a problem, and you are, going into criminality and etc., you have dent the name of the nation that you are coming from. And as a matter of fact, when next person coming from that nation is entering that country, they will be looking at that person suspiciously. Don't forget that. And don't say, oh, it's only me. How are they going to compare only me to compare with the millions of people from my nation? Yes, they can. So it's very, very important that you prepare yourself and think about those that are coming after you. Think about your children that are unborn. Think about the people coming from your country that will still have access in future to come into that nation. So if you look at the law of every nation, you will see that in every nation there is always, no matter how tight the law is, there is always a way for a foreigner to enter that nation and settle down and successfully live a life there. So you need to come in understanding that I am coming in to make the right inquiry, I'm coming in to meet the legal people in the country, and I'm coming in to do the right visibility studies. And I'm telling you, when you do all these things correctly, you will see that the door will be wide open for you. Now, we have talked about people that have access. We have talked about people that have access to come to the nation, either through visa waiver of 3 months, 6 months, or 90 days. But what about those ones that does not have access, that have to go through immigration and have to go through visa application and have to go through many, many requirements? We're going to talk about them in next week broadcast. So make sure you tune in next week broadcast, because you'll be amazed that there are so many ways you can be able to acquire a visa very easy and to enter countries that has been your desire to be in, and you will be able to get in there. So until we come your way next week, if these broadcasts have been a blessing to you today, we want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Give us a thumb up and comment to us. Share with us your ideas, your opinion, and what you are also learning from this. And maybe you might be saying something that will help another viewer. Until we see you next time, we want you to know we love you, we love you, we love you. Shalom.